Welcome to the Authentically Elisa podcast, Reshaping Business with Integrity, the podcast where we explore how to run your business authentically and with integrity. I'm your host, Elisa Bogarts, a business coach and launch manager, helping coaches launch their programs and events that align with their business values. Together, we'll uncover the secrets to building a successful business without sacrificing morals, ethics, authenticity, or heart. Let's dive in. All right, so let's dive into today's episode. Today, I have a very special guest with me, Mona Das, who is a filmmaker, speaker, and thought leader. And she's going to tell us about her leadership journey and how she went from $6 to senator. Welcome, Mona. I'm so excited to have you here.
I know. Hello. So great to be here with you.
Well, I'm very intrigued about your leadership journey, but before we hop into that, I want to know, like this season of the podcast is all about scaling on your terms, and I know that you have definitely scaled, and so, and it's all about how we can do that, but still really being aligned in our values and in our integrity and staying our authentic selves. So, how have you scaled on your terms?
Oh, that's such a great question. And I will say one thing that's interesting about my journey is that I've scaled and then descaled and then rescaled. And it's kind of like this ebb and flow based on what my current goals are or what I'm working on. And I think, the main thing about scaling is finding the right people and
Mm.
finding people who have your same beliefs and values and morals and integrity. It really is like you can't scale alone. And I mean, I guess in the age of AI now, you can seemingly scale without really scaling people wise. But for me, it's always been about finding people that believe in the mission and
Mm.
also can enhance the mission, right? Like I know what I know, and like one of the things that's made me really successful is that like I'm really good at three things. And I'm better at those three things than almost anyone I know. And when I can focus just on those three things and hire my weaknesses or hire my blind spots or hire people who are better at those things than I am,
Yeah.
and things that I never want to be good at. Like, I don't ever want to be good at website design. I don't ever want to be good at email marketing. I don't ever want to be good at like half of that stuff, like operations, like finances, like bookkeeping. Like, I don't want to be good at those things. And I think the problem for most people, especially when they start out and they're, maybe not at an income level where they can hire, is that they do try to do everything. And for me, if I'm doing things that I'm not good at or I don't care about or I dislike,
Mm.
then that's always the last on the menu, right? Like that's the
Right.
last thing I'll do. And so for me, it's discovering like what are those three things that you're good at and how can you just schedule and structure your day that that's all you do, the things that you love, the things that make you feel in your authentic self and the things that bring you clear joy, right? Like we were just talking about, I've been going on these business cruises and I love doing that. I'm meeting, so it's like a year's worth of networking or 2 years worth of networking in a week.
Yeah.
And for me, that's how I have met really amazing people that I want to partner with or do business with or be part of their communities. And, that's how we met. You and I met
Yeah.
on one of these cruises. And it's
Exactly.
been such a journey for us as friends, but as business colleagues and as referral partners and, all of that. So, find people that you want to do business with. I got to a point, I'm turning 55 this year. I just don't want to do business with assholes. Like, I just don't want to do business with people that I don't like being with.
Yeah.
You get to a point where you don't have to do that anymore. And I hope everyone can get to that level because working with people that do not help you bring your best selves alive are not people that you should be spending time with because like if you have a certain energy level, I mean those are like energy sucks, right? Those types of
Yeah.
folks are just like complete energy drains and you want to be around and find people who light you up, bring you joy, help you find a better version of yourself and also encourage you to be the best version of yourself, but also help you grow in ways that, you wouldn't have known otherwise.
Yeah, totally. And I feel also that even that can ebb and flow. There's
Yeah.
been some people where I've worked with for a while and it was great. And then, something shifted or changed it or whatever. And then it kind of like, and then you sort of like parted ways. And like that was okay because then you weren't maybe aligned anymore. You're going in different directions or whatever. And that's totally fine too. Or sometimes, like, I don't know, things can kind of change, or sometimes people can become bitter. They can become the asshole. And then you're just like, oh, okay, I don't really want to work with you anymore. But it was great
Yeah.
when it was great. But,
Yeah. Well,
and then,
life circumstance happens to everybody, right? Life
right.
lives. And so if that person their life is not, incongruent with where you're going, then it's okay to part ways. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean that you might not pick that friendship back up or that business relationship up later.
Right.
Um, as we all ebb and flow. So yeah, I think that's a great point. I'm glad you brought that up.
I'm just curious, what are the three things that you're great at?
Oh, you just fell right into
I
my
want to know what they are. I want to know what they
yeah.
are.
So
What are
I
your
do this,
superpowers?
I call it, yeah, the superpower exercise. So it's actually an exercise that I teach, which I'll share with your listeners.
Oh,
I
awesome.
always have you write down what you think they are first in your own mind, because the next step of the exercise is to ask others. So I always like say whatever is your social media of choice, and I encourage you to do this now too. And you type in, when you think of me, what three words come to mind? And what'll
Mm.
happen is you'll get like, because look, we all have that negative bitch roommate in our head, right?
Right.
And we
Totally.
all have like, we've lived all of our evolutions. So we have our negative self-talk, we have our negative views, we have our like foibles and our, stumbles and our falls and misses from, for me being 54, right? So it's like when people who don't know all of that answer, you get like this view of yourself that you never would have seen otherwise. And so what I love to do is then have people make like a word cloud. And so like if
Oh.
three people say fun or brilliant or innovative or whatever, then those words are bigger than somebody that just used one word once. And then there's like, websites where you can put them in and make the word clouds or whatever. Then you print that out, cut that out, and put it on your bathroom mirror, because those days that you aren't feeling it, you can look at
Mm.
that and say, oh yeah, so many people thought I was really smart, or so many people thought I was innovative or creative or whatever, because you're not feeling those every day when you wake up or every time you
Mm.
go look at yourself in the mirror in the bathroom. And so that way you can just have that reminder of how other people see you. And for me, it's like what I've my three big things have also evolved over time.
Mm.
I would say right now it's networking, connecting, it's big picture thinking, it's delegating. Those are a few. One, my favorite one that anyone ever gave me though was futurist. And
Ooh.
I loved that one because I look at myself as kind of like a bubble jumper. It was like I was in tech before tech was hot. I was in sustainability before sustainability was hot. I was in politics before politics was hot. I was in, now back tech is like back to being hot. And so I feel like I've kind of like been a bubble jumper. So I loved being called a futurist. And I kind of like I it took me a while to own that one,
Mm.
because it was
Yeah.
like, and the person who said that was definitely a futurist. He was in his 70s. I was in my 30s at the time. And I remember just thinking like, wow, and
Yeah.
it was one that I've like definitely grown into. And I love that. So the words people
Pretty
use to
cool.
describe you will often be really profound for you, but you have to remember that that's how people are seeing you from the outside. And you have to remember that that's how people are viewing your biggest qualities, and own
Yeah.
it, because that's what and I often do this exercise with people who just met me, because what am I giving off, like someone who's
Yeah.
just met me for the first time. So I
Like
love that
first
exercise a
impressions.
lot. Yeah.
Fun. I love
So
that
it
tip.
is, when you think of me, what three words come to mind?
I'm gonna have to do that in a little social
Yeah,
media post and put a posting
that's
party
right.
and see what it's like.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's go into your journey about the whole, you went from $6 to senator. That's got to be a great story. So
Yeah. Yeah, thank you. It's one of my favorite stories to tell. And I always, and in fact, this is how I started my TED Talk, which
oh.
was how many of you do your best thinking in the shower? And, often meant a lot of the audience will raise their hands. And I found out why that is. And I love that the reasoning behind it. It's Oprah. Oprah says it's because when you're in the shower, you have complete sensory deprivation. You
Ah.
absolutely, like, most people don't, your dogs or cats or spouses or kids or whatever aren't in the bathroom with you. And so you might be alone for the first time in your day or the only time in your day. And that shower just literally like numbs the noise and
Mm.
allows you to just like really clearly think for the first time, maybe that day or that week or whatever it is. And so my best thinking's in the shower. And I got out of the shower one time and I was visiting my brother and with his girlfriend, now wife, and the mother of my wonderful nephews. And I got out of the shower and I said, I'm going to be a senator. And we just laughed because it was like hilarious and preposterous. And I'd never had a political thought before that. And I'm very classically Indian, like half my family are doctors, the other half are engineers. And we just laughed. We're like, where did this come from? Why is this is, like, I just really didn't understand. Like, it just literally was like downloaded to me in the shower. Like, honestly, like, I don't know where it came from. But it was one of those ideas that I call BHAGs, big, hairy, audacious goals. And it's one of those ideas that I just kept. And I looked at it, I'd put it on a shelf. It didn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And every once in a while, I'd bring it down, I'd dust it off. It still didn't make any sense. I'd put it back on the shelf. But it was that one idea that kind of just kept coming back to me over and over again. And remember, I said, I'm going to be a senator. And one day, I had just moved to the Seattle area and I was walking my dog Cleveland at the time, who had, believe it or not, more energy than me. And every time we would go for a walk, he would, if we stopped for whatever reason, if I saw someone I knew or we were at a stop sign or whatever, if we stopped, he would just bark and pull. Just like, gotta go, let's go, let's go, let's go. And so one day I'm walking and I literally saw a sign. It was a yard sign. And I don't know if you have these in Canada, but when you run for political office in the States, often
Yeah.
there's yard signs everywhere. And this yard sign in particular said Pramila Jayapal for Senate. And I will tell you, in all honesty, when I saw that sign, I knew four things immediately. I knew one, she was a woman. I knew second, that she was Indian. I knew third, that it said senator. And I knew most importantly, I knew if she could do it, I could do it.
Hmm. Inspired immediately.
Inspired immediately, exactly, because it was the literal sign. Like, people, like, ask for signs from the universe, and like that literally hit me over the head of like, here it is. She did it, you can do it. And for me, I stood in front of that sign. I stopped in my tracks. My dog is barking and pulling for what seemed like 5 minutes. Maybe it was only 30 seconds, but I am crying. I am actually bawling my eyes out because in that moment, representation truly matters.
Mm.
And that is, one of my strongest beliefs is you have to see it to be it. And this is why I speak on podcasts and seminars and conferences and with school groups, because I want people, because when you close your eyes, like, this is obviously an audio video, but like, I'm an Indian short, like, you've met me, I'm 5'1", little Indian girl. And when you close your eyes and you think of a politician in America, it might be different in Canada, you look, you don't see me. You see someone who
Right.
looks exact opposite of me, right? And
Hmm.
that is what I'm trying to change by, showing that representation truly matters. If Pramila's sign inspired me so much, like, what is me being out there and showing that you can do it? And it doesn't have to be running for office. Not everyone's going to run for office. But what
Right.
is your crazy big hag? What is your crazy big dream? And look for examples of who you can be and who you can emulate. And, Pramila ended up being one of my greatest mentors. We ended up, she ended up like hosting fundraisers for me and really supporting me and endorsing my campaign. And, I mean,
Wow.
she ended up being somebody that was in my life. And the best part of this story is the end. So not only did I run for office many years later, it wasn't right after I saw the sign. It was years later. And but it was always stuck with me, right? And so not only did I run, not only did I flip a seat, not only did I knock on doors, 8,000 doors. My campaign knocked on 30,000. I
Wow.
knocked on 8,000 doors. When people tell me
Yourself?
what's
That's a
that?
lot of doors. Yourself, you did 8,000. Wow.
8,000 alone. Yeah. And when people tell me that you can't do something, I'm like, watch me, right? Like the best way to get me to do anything is to tell me I can't.
Yeah.
And 8,000 doors, that is a commitment, right? Often I would knock
Hmm.
100 doors a day. And and we definitely had people that knocked doors with me and for me and all that, but I myself knocked 8,000. And that's what it takes to flip a seat. And what that means is that I took a seat that was one party and made it a different party. And so
So
that's really hard
cool.
to do. It's a
Mm.
very, very, very difficult to do. There's very, very few people that add that to their political resume of flipping a seat. It's really
Yeah.
difficult.
Good for
Uh,
you.
Thank you. And so for me, you know, I did all that. I got into office. We get to the Capitol, and the Capitol in Washington State is in Olympia, Washington, and it is a dome. It looks very much like the Washington D.C. Capitol, a dome, Senate on the right, House on the left, and you get to the building, and because there were 6 people newly elected that year, and because my last name started with D, I got to choose offices first. So I got to see all 6 office spaces and I got to choose. And so my chief of staff and I are walking around and we see this office that has the perfect view of the dome, like perfect view. It's the smallest office out of the 6, but it was just like you could see the dome. And in my district that I represented had 148 languages in my district. So
Wow.
as an immigrant from India, which you had mentioned earlier, my family came to America with $6. So as an immigrant to America, like I'm representing little Monas, right? Like they're little
Right.
girls that whose parents might not even be able to vote yet because they're not citizens, but they're still in my district. I'm still representing their interests, right? And so for me, I wanted a reminder. I knew it was going to be really hard days. I knew that it was going to be really difficult. There were going to be stressful days, days where I was like pulling my hair out. And so I wanted a view of that dome to remind me of what I was fighting for. Who brought me there? Who voted for me? I mean, 25,000 strangers voted for me, right? Like you never forget that.
Wow.
That many people who'd never met me. I mean, I knocked 8,000 doors. I certainly didn't knock 25,000. And so it's a really big responsibility. And so I wanted to remember that dome. So we picked the smallest office, we picked the dome. And about 2 weeks later, somebody came to my office and they were like, "Oh my gosh, did you know that this was Permilla's old office?"
No way. I wonder if she had the same thought process, that she also
I
wanted
don't
to be
know. I
reminded
don't
in the
know. Yeah,
view.
I don't know. I mean, and
That's
so
so
for me, it was
cool.
like, you can't even plan that. Like, you
No.
literally can't plan that. I had no idea. Like, so that is that complete full circle moment of like the same woman that inspired me, then I inhabit her old space. It's just, and now she's in Congress now. She's like the chair of the Progressive Party and she's just kicking butt and taking names and she's awesome. But yeah,
Which
so
reminds
like
me of your
that.
documentary. Tell us a little bit about that. You
Oh
know that
yeah.
I
So
have that. It's on my like Apple TV. So every time I go to like my library of movies that I've like downloaded or purchased, it's always the very first one. And I think about you every time.
I love that.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you for sharing that. That makes me happy. Yeah, so then after I decided to leave office and while I was in office, um I passed 28 laws. So 28 laws in 4 years, which is kind of unheard of. I'm known as the single-use plastics warrior, so I banned plastic bags, styrofoam, and all single-use plastics for the state of Washington. And now my
Amazing.
bills are being implemented in about 20 to 25 states. I've lost count. And I know Canada banned all those things too. So
Yeah.
I like to think I was helped with that law, that national law that you all have. And um, yeah, so after I left office, I believe it or not, I wanted to make bigger impact. And so I was like, well, what is a way that I can make bigger impact? And so this movie came about, and I had the idea and named this movie like years ago, like 10 years ago. So like, just, if anyone's listening to anything about my story, like, don't give up on your dreams.
Yeah.
One thing I've learned is you can have anything you want. You might just have to adjust your timeline.
Mm, good point. Be
And
patient sometimes.
yeah, you just have to be patient. It doesn't mean just because you tried once doesn't mean, you can't do it another time or have a different iteration. And so
Yeah,
I named this movie many, many years ago, and I wanted to call it Badass Women Doing Kick-Ass Shit.
love it.
But, 15 years ago, you could never name something like that,
Mm,
right? Like
good
there wasn't,
point.
right? So
Yeah.
then fast forward many years later, now there's, Hulu and Apple TV and Amazon Prime, which our movie is on all of those channels. Not Hulu, but Apple TV, Amazon Prime, YouTube. And now you can have a movie named that. And so my whole idea was that I wanted to make sure I was the first in many ways. I am the first woman, first person from the state of Bihar, which is where I was born in India, to ever be elected to state or federal office in the United States. Ever.
Congratulations. Wow.
And so I want, like I said, I know I was the first in many ways, but I did not want to be the last. And so I wanted this movie
Mm,
to inspire the next generation. And when you watch the movie, it's not really about politics. I mean, yes, it is about women of color running for office. Yes, absolutely. There's 8 women in the movie. I'm in it as well. But the movie, I believe, is truly about women fighting the patriarchy. And I
mm.
think what happens when people watch the movie Other Women is they see themselves in the story, and they see themselves in their own struggles, in their own life, in their own fights that they've had throughout their life.
Yeah, absolutely. All the adversity and everything that we deal with as women, for sure. There's tons of that.
Exactly. And so that's why I think the movie resonates with a wide variety of people.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it. Thank you for that. And anyone else, we're going to put the link in the show notes for it so you can go to the website and learn all about the movie.
Yeah.
And also we'll put in Mona's website as well. Well, thank you so much for this. This has been such a great conversation. I love like learning your story, the whole $6 to Senator and everything that you're doing
Yeah.
and the impact that you're trying to make. Tell us what you got going on now. What's the next things? I know you got some big plans for
I do have
2026.
some big plans. So I had this vision. As a politician, one of the things that you have to become really proficient at least I did, at least that's how I got elected, was raising money. And I was able to take my sales career. So I had a lifelong career in sales and business development and entrepreneurship, and parlay that into successful fundraising. I've raised millions of dollars, not only for my campaigns, but for other campaigns and for nonprofits and other causes. And so I started to realize that many of my donors really wanted to see change. And so they, were starting to support a lot of women, specifically women of color. And the change in that realm politically is very slow. And
Mm,
so what I started to realize is who can make bigger impact faster. And as you know, we've met through entrepreneurial circles. I believe it's
yeah.
women entrepreneurs. And women
Mm,
entrepreneurs, of the funding out there, are getting about 2%, less than 2% of that funding.
wow.
And
That's
that
low.
is low, obviously. 90. And what I have found is, what are men making? Apps. They're making more apps, and we don't need any more apps. We need real, true impact. And so I had just kind of had this epiphany that, like, I know how to raise money, and I know all these fabulous women entrepreneurs that are doing amazing things that could do more amazing things if they were more well resourced. And so I came up with this idea to raise money for women entrepreneurs, and not only, you know, provide these women with the capital that they need, either through grants or through investment vehicles, but also then creating a community, a sisterhood. Because what I find for women entrepreneurs, and I think this is one of the reasons I've loved these business cruises so much, is finding like-minded entrepreneurs to create a sisterhood with. Because what happens to women entrepreneurs is, first of all, you can't talk to your friends and family. They don't understand why you're doing it. Just get
Nope.
a job, right?
Right.
They
My mom is
don't.
clueless. They're like, how are you making money? What are you doing?
Yeah,
Like, so
exactly.
clueless. No idea.
Exactly. And so oftentimes you just don't share your wins or your disappointments or your struggles or anything with those folks. And I've made the mistake before of talking to my staff, and you cannot do that either. So how do you grow, share disappointment, share struggles, look for camaraderie, right? Like, so creating that sisterhood, I think, is really part of the winning formula for this. Is those women entrepreneurs need other women to bounce ideas off of, and likely somebody else in this circle has already gone through it, or is going through it, or has, has already been past it, right? So then you could, the idea is that we can help each other get to our next level, whatever that is. Sometimes it's a financial level, sometimes it's some kind of other goal, sometimes it's creating something new, sometimes it's like starting over. I mean, there are women that pivot, a lot of people pivot. And so, like, what does that pivot look like? How do you, how do you support that with others? And so that's really the idea: raise money, provide it to these amazing women entrepreneurs who are doing deep impact in the world, and provide them opportunities to connect with other women.
That's amazing. I absolutely love that you're doing all that. It's such an amazing mission, and it's such it's gonna be so helpful. And you're right. We're
And because
gonna
I
run
don't
this
dream
world. We do run
small,
this world.
that's right. And because I don't dream small, my goal is to raise $1 billion with the B.
This
Yeah.
year or in total?
Well, in total, yeah. We'll see
Okay.
what that timeline looks like. But yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Well, so how can our listeners find you online, Mona?
Well, the best way is through my website, which is just monadas.org.
Cool.
And I'm a woman in my 50s, so Facebook is my social media of choice. So you can find me on Facebook. I'm on Instagram and TikTok and all those other things too. But Facebook, if you really want to get my attention, you'll send me a message on Facebook.
Okay, perfect. And to finish us off, do you have any final words of wisdom?
Yeah, so I do. That's a great question. I have 3 mantras that have kept me going. And the first is to dream big. And as you now know, well, you know already, but as your audience knows, I dream very big. The second is to believe in yourself, because I will tell you a story that there were only 12 people in the state of Washington that thought I could do what I did, as I flipped a seat, right? And so there were only 12 people that believed I could do that. Luckily, I was one of them. And so you have to truly believe in yourself. No matter what people, if you've got the blinders on and anyone is telling you negative things, when people tell you you can't do something, what they're telling you is that they can't do something.
Exactly. They're just like projecting onto you.
Correct. And you can do anything you want, especially if you adjust your timeline. And then the third thing is to keep going, because you have to put one foot in front of the other. And some days you fall over, but pick yourself back up the next day or a week or whatever, however long it takes to pick yourself up. And just know that there will be people waiting for you on the other side of that, on the other side of that last breakthrough.
Oh, thank you. This is just so inspiring. And I just loved having you on the show. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me. So good to see you.
You too. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. I hope it inspired you to live a more authentic life. I'd love your help in inspiring more people to live authentically. So please follow, rate, and leave a review so we can create a ripple effect of authenticity. Until next time, stay true to you, be bold, and thrive on your own terms. This is Elisa, signing off authentically.